Friends, here we are talking about nested if with simple example. Let me explain that. See, suppose I have a requirement, that is, read any number between 1 to 10 and display the given number is even or odd. So while developing our script, first we have to read a number and then we have to find whether that is even or not. If it is even, then we have to display output as your number x is even, your number x is odd, something like that. So first, how to read any number? Let's say I am taking input number equals to, using input we can read. So simply I am writing enter any number between 1 to 10. But if you remember, input treats whatever the value you are providing as a string only, but we want to treat that as an integer. So just convert this integer. Now in your hand you have your number after entering by the user. Now this number you have to validate whether it is even or odd. See, suppose what I do is simply I am printing your number, input number, remainder 2. See the result? Suppose I am giving input as 4. Let me rerun and let me give input as 6. Once again, let's say 9. One more time, let's say 7. Now if you observe the output, if you provide input as even, you are getting 0 for this logic. If you provide input as odd number, then the result of this is 1. See? So basically it is a mathematical rule, that is, if you find the remainder of any number with 2 and if it is 0, then you can say that that is even number, and if it is 1, then that is odd number. So now this is our logic to decide whether given number is even or odd. So what I do is simply I will store the result of input remainder 2 with any variable. Let's say input number remainder, anything you can take, simply x also you can take. So now if this value is 0, then I will display input is even. If this value is 1, then I will display input value is odd. So how to do that? This is your variable. Using this only we have to decide. Suppose if I take equals to 0, or let's say input number remainder, if it is equals to 1. So if this is equals to 0, here I have to print, let's say your given number is even. But if it is equals to 1, then I can say your given number is, let's say, odd. So now we have to execute this line only if input remainder 2 value is 0. Otherwise we don't execute. So input number remainder may be 0 or 1. So if it is 0, right, then take if condition. If input number remainder is equals to 0, then only execute this print line. So this print line should be there under the control of if. That's why provide at least one space. But better is take 4 spaces. That is just for looking purpose only. Same way, this line we have to execute only if input number remainder equals to 1. That means here you have to take if condition and you have to keep this line inside of if, under the control of if. If decides whether it should execute or not. That's it. Now let me save it and run it. Suppose I am providing, let's say 5, you are getting your given number is odd, let's say some 10, your number is even. That's perfect, right? So we developed the required Python script for a given requirement. But here, if you observe these two ifs, always any one of the block only will execute, right? Because this input number reminder may be 0 or 1, but it cannot be 0 and 1 at a time. That's why instead of writing two if conditions, simply you can take else here. That's it. Now you have only one if condition, and how it is going to execute? If input number reminder equals to 0, this block will execute. If it is not equals to 0, then this block will execute. Or instead of this, see, what I do is, first I will check if condition with input number reminder equals to 1. If reminder equals to 1, instead of displaying as even, we have to display as odd. If input number reminder not equals to 1, then else block will execute. Here we have to write even. That's it. And one more thing. Suppose here our possible values of input number reminder are either 0 or 1. And if you remember, 0 means false, 1 means true. That's why even instead of comparing your input number with 1 or 0, simply take if input number reminder. That's it. Suppose if input number reminder value is 0 from this result, then that means false. False means even number, this block will execute. Suppose if input number reminder is 1, here it will substitute 1. 1 means by default in your if condition that is true. Not only 1, any non-zero value, right? So that's why this block will execute. Even we don't need comparison operators. And even instead of defining your extra variable, what you can do is, you can directly keep this logic in if itself. That's it. That's why I told that this expression could be anything. Only condition is result should be either true or false, or if this is any value, then if decides whether it is true or false. That is based on, if you remember, if expression value is empty string or empty list or empty dictionary or 0, then if treats that as a false. And for any non-empty string, non-empty list, non-empty dictionary, non-zero, then if treats as true. So now let's say you provided input as 5, then 5 reminder 2, you are going to get 1. So 1 means in if condition true, so this executes. Now let's say you provided value as 6, 6 reminder 2 is 0. So 0 means if treats that as false, that means this block won't execute, else block executes. That's it. Now let me rerun once again. So I am providing, let's say 3. Yes, your given number is odd. 4, it is even. Now let's say I am giving 2, your given number is even. But by mistake, let's say I have given 22. Of course 22 is also even number. But if number is not within the range, then I have to tell the user, like let's say your number is not within our range. Then how to do that? So now before executing this logic, be clear. Before executing this logic, we have to decide whether given number is within our range or not. So that's why, see, let's say, let me comment this line as well. We don't need that. Directly we define in if itself. So now here what I do is, after reading number from input side by the user, your number is there within this. So I will take that number, input number, and I will validate whether it is in. I will take some list of numbers from 1 to that's it. So here I have taken a list with the 10 values 1 to 10. Now let me print this. So for time being, let me comment this as well. Now I am running our script. I am providing, let's say 4 true, let's say 66 false. So this is giving true if your number is within this range, and it is giving false if your number is outside of this range. Now what I do is I will apply if condition for this. If input number in this range, then I want to say print, let's say your number is within our range. Suppose if it is false, then if doesn't allow to execute this, then in that case, let's say else block, I will write like print your number is not within our range. That's it. Now let me save it and then run it. Let's say 4 within our range. Let's say 67, number is not within our range. Now let me enable our logic. So what I do is I will copy and paste here itself. Okay, now let me clear my screen. I'm executing, let's say 5. So your number is, oh sorry, I forgot to save it. Now I am entering number as 5, input number. Now see the result. Your number is within our range, given your given number is odd. Now let me rerun and I am providing, let's say 43. You are saying that your number is not within our range, but you are also saying that your number is odd. Suppose if number is not within our range, then I don't want to execute this. That means this logic you have to execute only if this is true. That means you have to add this logic inside this if. Now assume that these 4 lines of logic as only one line. If it is a one line, how to add inside if? Let's say suppose if I want to add inside if one more print, then I have to provide this much space and then I have to start. So now those spaces you have to provide for each and every line. Already we have some spaces here, but now you have to provide extra spaces, this much spaces for each and every line. Now let me provide that. So first I will take here, then for all these lines assume that as a one line and provide whatever the spaces we have here. Now let me provide the space for each and every line, that is 1 2 3 4, 1 2 3 4, 1 2 3 4, 1 2 3 4. That's it. Now this entire thing is as a one line only for your if, this if. Now if you observe inside if we have one more if, yes, we can write it, and this is called simply nested if, because inside if we have one more if. That's it. So now how this works? So now our logic is we have to read the number first. and then we have to validate whether that number is within this range or not. If it is not within this range, if skips completely its block. Now this entire thing is a block for if. Inside block, whether you have if or any loops, no problem. It completely skips if your number is not within this range. That means if goes to here, it executes this logic. Now let's say your input number is within this range. Then if allows to execute this block, whatever it is there, it will allow to execute that. Now while executing this logic, how it works? First it will execute this print. Then your Python goes to 7th line. But 7th line is a if. That's why it validates this logic first. If your input number is even number, remainder value is 0. If it is 0 means false. False means if skips to execute this block which is there under this if, and it execute this line. That's it. Suppose if this value is 1, then it will execute this line and it skips this line. That's it. Now let me rerun. I am providing this time, let's say 33. Your number is not within our range. Now 2 within our range, and then number is even. Let's say 5 within our range, number is odd. That's it. So now this is nested if, simply using if condition inside of one more if condition. That's it. Now here let's say if I want to read any number between 1 to 100, then to validate your number within 1 to 100, you have to write 1 to 100. No. If you remember, there is a range function. Let me quickly show you on Python shell. Once again, I am entering into Python shell. Range of, let's say 1, 11 I am taking because I need 1 to 10, right? So this is going to give range of 1, 11. List, see that 1 to 10. Suppose if I want to validate a number within 1 to 100, I will take 101. Now it is going to give all values 1 to 100 as a list. Now you don't need to write all these numbers here. So simply take range of 1, 11 as of now, as per this requirement, right? Now let's come out from shell, simply exit parenthesis. Let me clear my screen. Sorry, range, range. Okay, now run it. 2, 23. That's it. Now suppose I want to take 1 to 100 numbers. Then here you have to take 101, right? Range of 101. Now let's say I am providing 24. Yes, even number within our range. Now let's say 5, 6, 7. Then not within our range. That's it. Okay, thank you.